Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela and we are the Castro.
Oy, happy Friday! Naku,
Yun.
lapit na ng Christmas.
5 days, tama ba? 5 more days.
Na-survive natin itong week naman daming issue. And monster traffic. Carmageddon
Carmageddon, sabi daw sa January
pero diba,
pa talaga.
relax lang kayo. Ang important sa Pasko, masaya tayo, buhay tayo, we're with family, di ba? Padedmahin na yung nangiinsulto pag may regalong mura o mahal, di ba? Love, peace, and joy lang lagi.
Spirit of Christmas ang pairalin ngayon.
Wag
Maging mabuti kang tao, Diego.
Huwag yung spirit of materialism.
Maging mabuti kang tao.
Hindi, matagal ko na pinipreach. Huwag yung spirit of materialism. But yung tunay na spirit ng Christmas, puro salita tayo lahat, hindi man natin dinidibdib
Ito na siya, aga-aga.
Naiirita lang ako
Oo, kasi Pasko na ngayon, yung mga kababayan natin, talagang ready na sila or naghahanda na para sa Noche Buena nila. And then we have update on that, yung mga prices natin on Noche Buena items as well. And then of course, third impeachment complaint versus Vice President Sara Duterte na ihain na yesterday. And of course, issues on the budget, 2025 proposed national budget.
Okay, we're serving you news in a countdown.
All that before your second cup of coffee. This is Brunch.
Let's start off our countdown with the price watch. Have you started planning for your Noche Buena? Well, the prices of some Noche Buena items in the market have slightly increased. Based on the Department of Trade and Industry's inspection, the prices of ham, cheese, fruit cocktail, as well as pasta and several sauces have increased by less than 5%. Now, the DTI assured the public that Noche Buena items will not get more expensive than this before the end of the year. We also advised everyone to buy tipid packs and cheaper brands for Noche Buena. O kung malaki-laki ang grupo ng family nyo na pinaghahandaan nyo, it's okay to go cheaper brand kasi kailangan pakainin mo lahat. Pero kung intimate lang naman and you want a good meal, di ba? Then you can splurge on quality items. May choice ka naman.
I've seen several supermarkets. Actually, almost all supermarkets ngayon are selling yung mga package, ang tawag doon, tipid packs.
Yun nga,
diba? Yun nga yung sinasabi dito. And talagang makakatipid ka doon kasi sinasabi nga ng mga mamimili ngayon, yung 1,000 pesos mo as compared before, totally different na. Diba? Dati, isang supot ng 1,000 mo, puno yan ngayon, diba? Yung even paper bag mo, duwag-duwag for 1,000 pesos.
Kahit hindi Christmas items yung 1,000 wala na masyado.
So, but this time, itong Noche Buena items, sabi nila hindi magtataas until December para nga hindi mahirap para sa ating mga kababayan. And the TTI will inspect every day daw yung mga areas kung saan po pwede ma-check nila yung mga hindi nagtataas dyan. To make sure na hindi magtaas yung mga Noche Buena items.
Alright, let's go. Let's move on.
Now, on our top 9, let's check in on PITX or PTEX, where an influx of holiday passengers is expected today. We have our mobile journalist, Evan Tarinque, reporting live on the ground.
Evan, good morning.
Diego, Angela, good morning. Simula nga dahil Biyernes ay inaasahan nga na ngayong araw talaga dadagsa yung mga tao dito sa PITX para nga umuwi sa kanilang mga probinsya. Diego, Angela.
Yes, Evan, of course, comparatively, if you remember last year, anong period ba talaga dumadami ang tao?
Yes, Diego, historically, ganitong tuwing last Friday daw, tuwing last Friday ng December, bago magpasko, talagang dumadagsa yung mga tao. As of this moment, in-expect nga nila, around 3 million yung kanilang inaantay, inaabangan na daraan na food traffic dito simula ngayong araw hanggang January 6. And as of this moment, as of 9 a.m., nakakuha na tayo ng 38,000 na individuals na dumaan. Ngayong umaga pa lang yan dito sa PITX at inaasahan nga na around 180 to 200,000 yung dadagsapang tao maya-maya. Diego.
Evan, linawin ko lang, sorry, before Angela, yung estimate nila na 3 million expected passengers, hindi yun yung one-way lang, no? That's the total of yung papasok ng Metro Manila at yung palabas din.
Tama ka dyan, Diego. Hindi lang ito yung palabas. Lahat, yung buong food traffic ng papasok, palabas, ay yun yung kasama dito sa 3 million na kanilang estimated. Around last year, nasa 2.6 million. Mas mataas ngayon yung food traffic na kanilang inaasahan compared doon sa kanilang naranasan last year, Diego?
Oo. Paano ba, Evan, yung yung operation ng PITX pagdating sa mga pagbili ng tickets? Meron bang po pwedeng pumunta dyan, walk-in, bibili lang ng tickets o kailangan mag-pre-book na online?
Angela, ngayon mas pinoprocess nila yung mag-book na in advance yung ating mga pasahero dahil nga ngayon nagkakaubusan na ng mga ticket. No? Kanina nga may mga nakausap tayo, parang umaasa na lang si chance passenger yung ilang babiyahe. And as of this morning, no, nakuha nating data is fully booked na yung yung biyahe pa Bicol, lalo na yung sa may papuntang Tabaco. No? So, inaasahan na or in-expect na lagi daw sanang mag-advance booking na yung ating mga kapatid. At yung mga pupunta naman dito at yung mga maswerteng nakabili ng ticket, pinagbabawal pa rin yung pagdadala ng mga flammable materials, no? Mga matatalim na bagay at baril. At yun nga, expected na dumating in advance bago yung kanilang biyahe. Angela.
Oo. Evan, sabi mo nga, parami na ng parami yung mga pasahero dyan sa PITX. Kumusta naman yung security? Diba yan, ang isa sa mga tinitingnan din natin ngayon kasi sa mga terminal, laganap din yung mga pagnanakaw at iba't ibang mga untoward incidents. So dyan sa PITX, anong update mo tungkol sa ganyang issue?
Yes, Angela, sa ngayon, we're still gathering pa yung data ng mga confiscated item. Pero kanina, may naabutan tayong may dalang gas tank, no? Yung maliit na
gasolito.
No? At kaagad naman ito nga hinarang sa entrance pa lang at hindi na at iniwan yung gas tank, no? And papakita natin ngayon, no? Ikot ko kayo sa ngayon. Alright, pwede ko kayong ikot na ngayon. Nakikita natin, ito yung entrance pa lang, no? Entrance pa lang ay talagang, okay, mukha ko pala yan. Alright, itong entrance pa lang, no? Diyan pa lang sinisigurado na chinecheck na kagad ng mga security personnel dito. At meron niya, yung mga malalaking bagahe naman, gaya ng mga nakabalot na, dumadaan dito at usually, meron dito nga bomb-sniffing dog or yung dog na inaamoy niya yung kanyang yung mga bagahe. At pagdating naman natin dito sa may kabila, meron na mga police desk dito, no? So, pwede nga lapitan kung magkaroon man ng untoward incident sa loob ng PITX, Diego, Angela.
Oo. Pet-friendly ba ang PITX?
Yes, Angela, pet-friendly naman yung PITX. No, kanina may mga nakikita tayo, may mga dalang fur babies, pero syempre yung mga babiyahe, discretion daw ng bus company kung allowed sa kanilang pagbiyahe. No? Pero usually, ang hinihingi naman dyan ay dapat fully vaccinated yung ating mga pets at may diaper at naka-cage. Angela.
Evan, speaking of security, may mga PNP help desk ba nakatalaga dyan? And of course, yung second question ko is, may mga drug testing ba na gagawin na randomly for yung mga drivers natin?
Yes, Diego, no? Itong help desk, meron dito sa harapan natin. Pakita lang natin. Ito, merong help desk dito sa harap natin. So, kung may reklamo or merong untoward incident, ay pwedeng nga lumapit dyan. In terms naman dun sa mga ating random drug testing, ay regularly naman daw chine-check ng pamunuan ng PITX yung kanilang mga bus drivers. Hindi lang naman yung bus drivers dahil chine-check din nila if roadworthy ba yung kanilang mga bus dito dahil isa yun sa safety. Yun nga, safety ang importante sa pagbiyahe, lalo nga yung ibang biyahe around 12 to 20 hours yung kanilang pagbiyahe mula dito sa PITX punta sa kanilang probinsya. Diego?
Alright, maraming salamat sa iyo, mobile journalist Evan Tarinque.
Nagdala ng gasolito.
Huwag
naman ganun.
Yun nga, nagkakaubusan na rin ng ticket dyan. So
it's better to check in advance sa websites about kung availability ng biyahe before you go.
Kasi this weekend, for sure, na rin yung mga mass exodus na rin yung iba mga...
Kung may Carmageddon na, Busmageddon.
Busmageddon. Lahat uuwi na ng probinsya kasi yung karamihan natapos na yung mga work schedule nila.
So
school, tapos
they're going into the metro and they're going out of the metro. Palitan lang naman yan. But let's move on. Coming in at the 8th spot is about weather. The low-pressure area in the Philippine area of responsibility has a chance to become a storm again. The LPA was last spotted over the coastal waters of Mahinog, Camiguin. It is expected to cause rain in Visayas and Mindanao. Pag-asa said once it becomes a storm, it will be renamed as Kerubin. Aside from the LPA, the Weather Bureau is also monitoring the northeast monsoon or hanging Amihan in northern Luzon and the shear line in the eastern part of southern Luzon.
Nako.
Oo, pero hindi pa kasi lumalamig ng todo yung sa may northern areas eh. Yung mga makausap natin ng taga Baguio, sabi nila nasa between 19 to 21 to 23 ang malamig yun ha, that's aircon temperature, pero for Baguio folk that's normal. So alam natin na hindi pa syadong peak because
pero yung LPA na baka daw magkaroon ulit ng chance na maging bagyo, sabi ng Pag-asa. Sana wag na ulit, di ba? Sana along the way matunaw na lang siya.
Oo, umalis ka na.
Para tapusin na natin itong taon na okay.
Sana si LPA mag-Christmas na rin. Oo, di ba?
Matunaw na lang siya, wag na lang siya pumunta sa ibang
celebrate
lugar.
ka na lang sa sarili mong lugar. Huwag ka na pumasok kahit saan.
Oo. Alright, coming up, another impeachment complaint has been filed against Vice President Sara Duterte. On what grounds?
And the House Quadcom has recommended the filing of charges against former President Rodrigo Duterte and some of his allies over the bloody drug war. What do they have to say about this? Ay, nako, alam mo na ang isasagot ni PRRD sa ganyan.
Hindi pa siya nasalita eh.
Cute! Diba?
Yung anak niya, si Congressman Pulong Duterte, may pahayag na siya dyan. Of course, yung mga kaalyado niyang senador, si Senator Bongo, Senator Bato de Rosa, meron na rin pahayag. Mamaya pag-usapan natin yan. We have a lot of time later on. Good morning! You're still watching Brunch here on One News, TGIF.
Thank God it's Friday.
5 more days until Christmas.
Kala ko TGIS.
Show mo yun, di ba?
Hindi
Dati, show nyo. Okay,
Hoy,
good morning
good morning,
muna.
Angel, go.
Good morning muna dun sa ating mga
wait,
usual
naghahanap
suspects.
sila, naghahanap si Rob Domingo ng Buddha's Belly.
Oo nga eh. Babawi sila sa susunod na Friday.
Oo, di kasi
Hi, Marjorie.
Marjorie kasi sila, of course, Christmas yan. May busy sila. So,
daming orders.
they have to take care of the other orders. Family naman natin, alam naman natin yan.
Yes.
So, good job!
Batiin ko lang itong nandito sa YouTube natin si Geraldine Balolong, nanonood yan all the way from Bukidnon. Of course, si Tita Daisy Cancho, Tito Nito, sabi niya, kahit daw sa simbang gabi, konti na lang yung attendees, siguro daw wala din silang pang-offer. Pero okay lang naman magpunta kayo ng simbahan kahit wala kayong offertory. Diba? Maintindihan naman ng Diyos yun. Of course, si Leonie Valdesoto, Happy Friday daw sa atin and Merry Christmas. Dito naman sa Facebook Live natin, we have Alex Fuentes, the ever so loyal Alex Fuentes, Ralph Domingo, Sam Pokemon Go, Gary Field, sino pa si Migs Ebron, si Tita Esther Abaya, Minya Benales, and the rest of our Just Even Just family. My Mother Earth, si Mama, bati mo.
Good morning, Mother Earth.
Oo. Si Ate Ice, of course, si VJ, si Hener, at sino pa?
Mio!
Nanonood ba si Mio ngayon?
Ha?
Wala siyang klase na eh, no? Okay, sige. Ano yan? Nag-blanco ka? Let's continue with our countdown. Now, on our 7th spot, a fire hit a dredger vessel in Manila Bay on Thursday. Thick dark smoke was seen coming from a portion of MV HYN Z31 yesterday afternoon. The Philippine Coast Guard then deployed the BRP Sindangan and the BRP Suluan to respond to the incident. Authorities are still determining the cause of the fire. Right?
Okay, let's move on to the next. Setting at the 6th spot are about the new polymer banknotes. Now, what are the new features of the banknotes, and can we still use our paper bills in the future? Let's get answers from this report by Mobile Journal, Julie Baiza.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. led the unveiling of the first Philippine polymer banknote series in Malacanang yesterday. The event highlights the introduction of polymer banknotes in denominations of 500, 150 pesos. These are set to enter circulation in the first quarter of 2025. PBBM explained that unlike paper bills, which wear out after about a year, polymer banknotes can last 5 times longer or up to 7.5 years.
It builds on the success of the 1,000 peso polymer note introduced in April of 2022 and aligns with the global best practice of updating currency features every 10 years. Over 40 countries, including Australia, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Singapore, have adopted polymer banknotes due to their proven benefits.
The design of the new polymer banknote showcased the country's rich biodiversity. The 500 peso note features the Visayan spotted deer, which can be found only in the rainforest of Panay and Negros, while the 100 peso note,
the 100 peso note showcases the Palawan peacock pheasant, a bird whose elegance mirrors the grace we show even in challenging times, whether it is showing kindness to others or finding beauty in the ordinary.
Meantime, the 50 peso note shows a Visayan leopard cat, a symbol of independence and of agility according to PBBM. Aside from this, the polymer banknotes honors the culture of the Philippines.
The intricate weave patterns carry the stories of families, of communities, and generations who have kept these traditions alive through their hands and hard work. Indeed, our currency is a tangible connection to those that we realize, once again, what we are as a people, that we are rooted in pride, in tradition, and the values we pass on to the next generation.
PBBM also reminded the public that the existing paper banknotes will continue to circulate and will remain valid. Mobile journalist Julie Baiza, We Are One News.
Ayun,
Wala
yung
ng 200.
Existing paper, okay pa daw yan.
Yes.
Pero alam naman kasi natin yung material ng polymer, ay yung pag-impose na medyo maliliit. So, yung bacteria talaga, have a hard time thriving on it kasi madulas.
Saka hindi non-absorbent siya.
Oh, pero ang question kasi ng marami, while it's nice that we are showcasing yung ayun, may tao sa 1,000 na nakita.
Hindi, yun yung sa 1,000 before. Pero ngayon, yan yung mga labas nila.
Anyway, nagtatanong
kasi di ba unang-unang lumabas yung polymer sa 1,000 noong 2022.
Oh, anyway, nagtatanong kasi yung marami, bakit tinanggal yung mga...
Oo nga eh.
Are we trying to... Is it a conditioning na kalimutan natin yung ibang part ng history? Like yung mga nasa 500 peso bill? Oh. Diba sino ba yung nasa 500? Tapos yung next...
yung ibang nating mga... diba? Manuel Rojas.
Of course, it's nice that we're showcasing biodiversity. I agree with that. But there should be also a series of banknotes that also are showing kung sino yung mga personalities behind yung Philippine culture and history. It's because yung younger generation, they tend to not know yung mga historical reference natin kung sino yung mga presidente, ano yung nangyari sa history. They're relying on TikTok, Facebook masyado eh. So it's nice na
nakakalungkot lang, no? Wala na yung mga dati.
Kasi ang pera is the most highly circulated.
Pero ako, okay na to. Di ba nagkaroon ng...
Media, tri-print media.
Oo, di ba nagkaroon nga ng issue dati dun sa polymer ng 2022. Bakit daw yan? Hindi daw pwedeng tupiin, hindi pwedeng basain. Of course, huwag mong basain pera mo. Pero yung tupi, sabi naman ni President Bongbong Marcos, pwede naman tupiin. Kung magkaroon siya ng konting crease doon, okay lang. So kung ito naman ay, salsala daw, nabanggit ni President Bongbong Marcos, meron sa Australia, meron ganito na rin sa UK, sa Canada, 'di ba, mga polymer. Tapos yun nga yung makaiwas sakit pa, no, kasi mga bakterya na nakukuha dun sa papel. Ito daw hindi na.
Pero yung reklamo nila wag basain.
Okay lang sa akin yun. Pero yung sa mga figureheads natin, medyo mamimiss ko yun.
Yung paper money, yung paper money naman kasi hindi mo talaga pwede rin basain yun eh.
Oo.
Pero ang maganda sa polymer, pag nababasa kasi, yung new version kasi yung mga nauna, yung hybrid, medyo may problema kasi siya. Yung nagsistay daw sa ink, nagbablotch. Pero yung new ones, yung new polymers na linabas nila recently, pag nababasa, makikita mo yung water, you just wipe it off. Okay na yung note. Napansin ko yan kasi nabasa ko yung isang dala natin pera noon. Punasan mo lang ng konti. Basta hindi naman lublob sa tubig. Wag naman.
But yun nga, reminder lang din, wag kayong mag-alala yung old banknotes natin. Valid pa rin until mawala sila sa naturally, di ba, sa circulation.
Pero ika nga, di ba, sabi rin ng mga kasama natin sa big story mamimiss nila yung 200 peso bill. Ako rin.
Wala
kasi
na
isa sa mga
200.
favorite ko yun eh. Sometimes kasi pag 500, kailangan mo ipa-break if you need barya. Ang 200,
tsaka yung, di ba,
sakto lang eh.
Ilang years na ba yung tuluyan na rin talaga nilang kinalimutan na gawing papel yung 20 pesos, naging coin na.
Naging coin.
Di ba, yung minsan yung mga ninong-ninang, yung mga pinamimigay sa mga bata.
Ngayon coin?
Ngayon coin. So, syempre, mahiya ka na. 50 pesos ka na ngayon. Mag-upgrade kasi inflation na.
Pero yung 20 pesos, yung value na mataas pa rin.
Oo, di ba? So, ayan po, yung ating bagong pera ngayon na wala na yung mga muka ng ating yung mga nakasanayan na natin.
Si Eagle, si Philippine Eagle, nandun siya.
Sa 1,000. Siya yung nauna eh.
Siya ang bida eh. Siya ang bida.
Alright, let's continue with our countdown. Moving over now to our top 5, a bill that aims to right-size the government has reached the Senate plenary. It was forwarded by Senate President Chis Escudero himself. He said employees in government has ballooned to 1.9 million as of 2022, leading to a cost of over 1.3 trillion pesos. Escudero noted, however, that right-sizing is not tantamount to removing employees. According to the Senate leader, positions will be made more fit to the true needs of our citizens. Kasi ibang mga groups kasi sinasabi nila, they beg to disagree with Senate President Chis Escudero dahil this will lead to mass layoffs daw ng mga empleyado. Pero yun nga, sinisigurado daw naman ni Senator Chis Escudero na in fact, they will add pa daw. Ang tatanggalin lang nila yung mga redundancies, diba?
Actually, kasi pag ganun, the word right size means may nagka-problema sa positioning, nag-doble-doble. Pag downsize naman, tama yung number ng tao, it's just that hindi na kinakaya ng expenses ng kumpanya or ng bansa ang isang ahensya, so you downsize. Pero kaya nga ang word na ginamit ni Senator Chis is right-sizing. So in other words, ina-admit natin ngayon that we have several positions that are overinflated.
Yes.
But you know, we have to take a look also at the system of mga ASEC, USECs kasi ang daming appointees dyan sa mga na-redundant appointees who take up a majority. Kasi nasa 6 digits ang sweldo niyan. Rather than removing yung mga critical clerical positions and up to the director positions in all agencies of government, tignan muna natin yung overinflated hiring and appointing ng mga ASEC. Diba, may, kunyari sa isang ahensya, kunyari may ASEC for coffee, may ASEC for cream, may ASEC for 3-in-1, may ASEC for sugar. Diba, parang napaka-redundant.
Pero sinasabi naman nila, itong bill na to would only cover the agencies in executive branch such as departments, bureaus, offices, commissions, and more. Pero yung mga sa Congress, judiciary, hindi daw yan covered ng measure na to, as well as yung sa Department of Education, yung mga teachers din kasi doon, tsaka yung mga administrative
like we were saying,
in fact, kailangan pa nga sa DepEd ng mga administrative assistants para, di ba, yun ang sinabi nila, mabawasan ng load yung mga teachers.
For example, di ba, yung may spokesperson, may deputy spokesperson, may assistant deputy spokesperson, may rank yun mga ASEC rank yun. So yung sweldo noon, magastos, parang we should take a look at yung streamlining of positions.
Streamlining and making it more efficient.
Pero yung mga advisors ng President with rank of ASEC, USEC, okay lang yun. Because the presidential really needs advisors aside from the cabinet. But we should take a look, how many advisors do you need? Kaya nga may cabinet secretaries because they're the ones who are supposed to be advising you. Yes. Aside from them, you need others pa ba? Parang, let's take a look, let's be prudent in spending.
All right, let's continue with our countdown.
Ranking fourth is the recent maritime patrol in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippine Coast Guard and the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources have successfully conducted their maritime patrol in Bajo de Masinloc. Philippine Coast Guard for the West Philippine Sea spokesperson Jay Tariela reported that BRP Teresa Magbanwa and BRP Cabra distributed food packs and groceries to Filipino fishermen in the shoal. He also noted that 2 Chinese Coast Guard vessels, 2 Chinese maritime militia vessels, and a People's Liberation Army Navy vessel were spotted inside the shoal. These Chinese vessels did not harass our ships this time. May sumpong silang kabaitan na. Pero concerning yun, PLA vessel inside the shoal. Kaya tayo nga, umiiwas tayo na magpadala ng Navy vessels natin because parang that's an extreme show of aggression, di ba? Pero sila may... Pinapasalita mo ako, maubusan ako. Yan, sila. But sana naman, through and through, mangyari yung ganitong setup na, okay, sige, you're contesting the waters, we're contesting it na it's ours. Pero in the meantime, let's not hurt each other. Diba?
Kasi dyan sa Bajo de Masinloc, dyan talaga maraming nangingisda mga Pilipino. Pa-cove yan, di ba?
Yes, that's a cove.
Tapos,
that's an important cove,
Oo, yung mga Chinese vessel na yan sila, yan yung mga doon sa labas, yan yung mga naglalagay ng harang doon. Alala mo, merong ginawa yung isang fisherman natin, tinanggal niya, dumaan sila sa loob. Kasi pag hindi sila nakapasok doon sa loob, kunyari, for example, sa gitna ng pangingisda nila, tapos biglang sumama yung panahon.
That's what I was gonna say. The cove provides a reprieve from the storm.
Pagka nagkaroon ng sama ng panahon, delikado, hindi sila makapasok dun sa cove.
Kasi you have to remember po, parang Boracay. Boracay is a cove. Pag yung waters mo during yung bagyo ay medyong wild and violent, Sa loob ng cove, since may break siya sa may paikot na island na lupa, the waters inside the cove, tendency niyan is mas kalmado.
Yes.
So yung mga fishermen that are in danger outside, ang ginagawa ng Chinese fishermen, they're preventing our fishermen from going inside pag masama yung waters. That is delikado sa buhay ng mga fishermen natin.
At saka when they fish there, yung mga Filipino fishermen natin, hindi lang isang araw, 2 araw yan. It takes weeks for them. Siguro at the least 2 weeks.
2 weeks
That's
sila.
why yung mga PCG natin pupunta dyan, nagmaritime patrol, nagbibigay din sila ng mga ayuda, mga grocery items, pangkain, para makasurvive yung mga ano natin. Or fuel din, di ba?
Yeah.
Doon sa mga fishermen natin dyan sa Bajo de
Well, thank you Lord naman na this time around hindi man tayo ginulo.
Although may radio challenge, at least successful pa rin yung pagbibigay nila ng ano dyan.
Siguro nagki-Christmas
ng,
party yung mga Chinese Coast Guard tsaka Navy personnel. Kaya challenge mo na. Hindi,
Or
kain na.
Pasko naman, ceasefire muna.
Ano naman ceasefire
Pero ito, definitely hindi to ceasefire ang ating next countdown. On our third spot is Sara Duterte. The third impeachment complaint against the Vice President has been filed before Congress. Like the first 2 impeachment complaints, the main grounds are also culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayal of public trust. Priests from the Diocese of Novaliches Order of Carmelites and the Congregation of Mission were among the complainants.
We believe BP Sara committed something illegal and something immoral against the Filipino people. For us, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness.
The complainants also include non-government organizations and lawyers. They said impeaching Duterte over possible betrayal of public trust is a moral obligation.
The legal and constitutional obligation of the members of the House of Representatives to impeach and for the Senate to remove from office the sitting Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. It has now become their moral obligation to do so.
Gusto natin makita paano magko-consolidate itong Congress na to with these 3 complaints. Usually kasi pag mukhang walang numbers kasi to transmit it to the Senate right away. So papasok sa Committee on Justice ito. Let's see how they decipher kung kasi minsan ang tendency nila is in past impeachment cases pinagsasama certain articles of the impeachment, yung mga redundant tinatanggal.
Tapos,
so we want to see kung anong impeachment complaint dito ang mangingibabaw. But the way I see it kasi yung betrayal of public trust supersedes, it supersedes everything Because sa ilalim ng betrayal of public trust, lahat nandun na So yung articles ng betrayal of public trust, I think they'll be focusing on that with specific under different issues there.
Kaya nga 'di ba pinupush ng mga nag-file nito ng impeachment complaint na maipasa agad sa Senate dahil pag hindi ito umusad, mayroong 1-year immunity, 'di ba? Itong kinakasuhan nila ng impeachment, which is Vice President Sara Duterte.
So
hindi na sila pwedeng mag-file.
1-year immunity from filing. So that was filed around November. So that means untouchable si VP Sara until November. So until such time, hindi rin natin alam ano yung makeup ng Senado at Congress until after this election. You have to remember, itong midterm election is a referendum on the policies and the performance of President Bongbong Marcos. Doon natin makikita.
This will shape yung niya.
Politicians will see from these elections more or less kung kanino sila papanig pagdating sa yung presidential elections.
Sa 2020.
Sino yung malakas? Duterte brand, Marcos brand.
Battleground na yan.
So,
pero naalala ko dati, during the time of President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, parang every year may nagpa-file ng impeachment sa kanya.
Hindi, yun si, pangalan niya? Lozano ba yun?
Para ma-immune siya every other year.
Kasi di ba sabi na si former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, alam niyang madaming kaaway siya, political enemies at that time. So instead
at saka may mga pa yun may chismis din na siya prime minister, Chacha, etc.
Tsaka at the height of the Hello Garcia, tsaka NBNCTE deal. So may nagpa-file every year na very weak impeachment complaint na dismiss ka agad. Immune na siya.
Pero yun ang sinasabi nila, ang kalaban nito ay ang time. 'Diba, panahon.
Wala,
Dahil nga, sobrang busy
alanganin
na.
talaga.
Unless gawin nila yung shortcut route na sinasabi ni former Senator Laila de Lima, which is to gather yung, 'di ba, yung majority endorse ng mga Congress. Pero mukha ding walang numero doon.
Alam mo, sa Congress, definitely may chance na lumusot. Ang problem sa Senate, because the Senate is a national position pag nag-campaign yan. So matatakot yung ibang senador to go against yung southern vote, which is held by the Duterte. So,
malaki-laki din kasi
yun. Malaki-laki yan. So matatakot. So, yung congressman, distrito ang ano mo ang hawak mo. So okay lang. Kung yung distrito mo, safe ka Oo.
Parang sabi nga nila, damn if you do, damn if you don't. Kasi dito,
sorry bad word.
Sorry. Hindi kasi dito sa sa Manila, sasabihin din nila.
It's an expression
diba,
talaga.
It's an expression. Sasabihin nila na, bakit di nyo inuusad yan? May pangsarili kayong interest. Anyway, so abangan natin kasi nag-break na, di ba, ang both
nag-break
houses.
Na? Sara and CBTM?
Holiday.
Nag-break naman talaga
holiday
sila.
break na, di ba, ang both houses.
Hindi na sila mag-MU ulit. Hindi na.
Iba yung sinasabi mo.
Anyway, don't go away. We're not done yet. May dalawa pa tayo. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. Happy Friday sa lahat ng mga viewers natin.
Shoutout ko lang daw sila kasi nanonood sila. Si Elmo Cardenas at si Oscar N. Nanonood sila from Eastwood Greenview Subdivision sa Montalban, Rizal. At saka si Amo Jabida.
Yan. Good morning sa inyong lahat, Hello.
Good morning.
Speaking of yung impeachment, we're gonna talk to Michael Yusinko. He's a senior research fellow at the Ateneo Policy Center. Michael, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Diego and Angela. Good morning to everyone listening to us this morning.
Yes, Michael, let's start off. I think the question should not be, is there enough time? Kasi kung gugustuhin ng mga congressmen, there is time for impeachment. The point is, will the senators even entertain the idea? Because we all know when they run, they rely on national votes, which means may mga southern votes na baka mawala if they speak up against VP Sara. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, tama ka, Diego. That's likely will be part of their calculations, pagdating dito sa impeachment talks, Pero kasi yung timing is really a big challenge.
Yes.
So, because of that, baka yung mga senators, they might be nonchalant about it, thinking na hindi naman to, the time will expire as they say, na nga. So baka sa mind nila, sa isip nila, this will not proceed anyway, so why bother, But certainly, yung sinabi mo na it might cost them some votes in Mindanao, that will certainly be in their minds.
Yeah, but I'd like to ask, Michael, how about sa mga those who are leaning towards the administration, do you think may impact itong impeachment kung matuloy ito with regards if they are vocal against VP Sara or not? Do you think it will help their cause? If they're not vocal against VP Sara, do you think it will damage their cause?
Siyempre, whatever happens, it's going to have a political cost, whether you take the side of the vice president or defend her, or you stay on the side of those pushing for impeachment. There will be political costs to that. Ang importante dito is really the cost to the nation.
Yes, that's right.
Yun yung mahalaga, at least for me, kasi right now, sabi ni Pangulong Marcos, we only have political noise, right? Pero kapag natuloy yung impeachment, that political noise might increase by, at the very least, 2 decibels. So, that's going to have some, not just political cost, I would say, but economic costs for our country. And that's really the primary concern that I have. And I'm sure many have in their minds now.
You're talking about economic costs. Do you think sa mindset ng mga ibang investors natin, if it will be worse if we go through this process, or will it be worse if we let VP Sara's actions just let it go?
I don't think that's the calculation, or it's that simple. I think from the perspective of investors, both local and foreign,
yes,
impeachment just like what we're seeing in South Korea now, impeachment, it's like parang red flag to something worse. Kasi syempre yung mga domestic and foreign investors, ang primary concerns yan lagi is stability.
Yes.
So kapag merong mga red flag na points to possible instability, which is impeachment, no? Diyan nagkakaroon na ng mga alarm bells yan sa mga isip nila. So that's what I mean, no, na posible magkaroon ng economic cost. It might portend to instability in the minds of investors.
I agree with you, Michael, to some degree, but hindi kasi VP Sara's statements of we all know naman hindi naman ito yung mga grounds for impeachment as of the moment, but we all know that her statements against the president have been very publicized around the world. And if do you think it will also harm the country per se if the president does not show that he is firm about yung actions na kanyang vice president? Then the people will say he might also be a weak leader. So it might also be damaging, don't you think, if we don't act up on how she is behaving?
Yes, you're correct, Diego. No, that's why ang sinasabi natin is the DOJ must pursue the criminal cases. Okay. No? Specifically, I think you're referring to yung mga threats, no, made online dun sa infamous weekend na yun. Ano?
Yes, that's right.
That has to be investigated, and which the DOJ is doing, by the way, and also prosecuted. If there is sufficient evidence to file the indictment. So, kailangan ipakita rin ng administrasyon, not just the president, ng administrasyon na hindi pwedeng palampasin yung mga ganyang klaseng mga criminal behavior.
Right. So, Michael, ito na nga, no, third impeachment complaint has already been filed yesterday by some groups, headed by some priests and lawyers, etc. I was wondering, are there implications on this in terms of masyadong marami na ang nag-file ng impeachment complaint? This is the third one. At each complaint, ang daming articles of impeachment. Your thoughts on that?
Well, sir, yes, Angela, there's going to be a very negative implication, at least with regards to the timing again. Kasi ang impeachment kasi, this is not like a court case na kapag maraming petitions, magpapatong-patong lang yon. The court will entertain all of those petitions. No? Kaya sometimes yung mga petitions sa Supreme Court, napakaraming mga parties involved, no? Kasi ganun yung sistema sa korte. But in this case, yung House of Representatives, they only need to choose one to file the impeachment articles, no? Isa lang. The fact na tatlo, it actually makes their job harder in the sense that they have to consider all of those three impeachment complaints, no? Kasi ang trabaho nila ngayon, specifically yung office ni Speaker, they now have to determine if the complaints are up to standard in form and substance, no? So they have to go through all of the complaints as due diligence, no? Trabaho nila. So kung maraming articles, maraming pages, it's gonna take more time for them to do that. Isang impeachment complaint lang naman ang kailangan nilang i-file o i-endorse dun sa Committee on Justice. Hindi naman kailangan tatlo lahat, no? Isa lang ang ang
But, we had former Senator Laila De Lima over the show about a couple of weeks ago, and she is saying otherwise. Sabi niya, the more the merrier, and this will look also na talagang marami yung gustong ma-impeach itong si Vice President Sara Duterte. Well, that's her opinion. But we also ask her kung hindi ba po, kasi the question here also lagi sinasabi nila is yung timing. So would it be better to tackle this after the midterm elections, or dapat pagkabalik na itakal na itong impeachment complaint na to?
Let me answer first regarding former Senator De Lima, because she is exactly correct, no, na kapag maraming nag-file, it has a stronger public impact. Kasi they can show na maraming ang nagsusuporta ng impeachment, right?
Right.
Kung napansin niyo, pag-file nung Makabayan Block, ang dami nila doon, di ba? Because precisely that, it shows that there is strong public support for the impeachment. But in practical terms, hindi yun ang epekto nun. Ang epekto talaga is lalo lang nagkakaroon ng mas maraming trabaho.
Logistically, mas matagal.
Yes, oo. But certainly, tama si Senator De Lima.
Yung optics na gano'n.
The optics is very good kasi nga, nakikita na, wow, ang daming gusto magpa-impeach sa kanya. There is a strong public support for it. Right? Now, to answer the second question, yes, baka, kumbaga, thinking about the timing, baka after the midterms would make it more realistic, no? Kasi yung mga lawmakers natin will be, kumbaga wala silang ibang iniisip kung hindi yun, no?
Kaya lang, baka maiba na yung Senate. Baka maiba na yung Senate.
Yes, speaking of that, Michael, I'd like to, finally, in closing, I'd like to ask your opinion. We all know the midterm elections is a referendum of the first 3 years of the president. Now, based on what you've seen from both sides, Duterte and Marcos, what do you think your fearless forecast would be? Do we see a Senate and Congress dominated by the administration, or do you see a balance?
Senate.
Mahirap sagutin, Diego, no? But certainly, ito masasabi ko with certainty is that this administration has done everything it could possible to have a strong showing in the midterm elections. Kitang-kita natin yan sa budget for this year. Diba? Yung mga insertions, yung pork barrel,
sabi nga ni Senator Drilon, how to make your own pork barrel when we interviewed him.
How to fund your
pork barrel.
We may not have, ako personally, I may not have a strong inkling kung sino mananalo sa 2025 given the surveys the different results in the surveys that we see. But certainly what is clear is that this administration, because of the close relationship of the President and the Speaker of the House, they have been successful in doing everything possible for them to have a strong showing in the 2025 election.
Sabi nga nila, Michael, dalawa lang naman yung scenario na yan eh. Kapag umusad ang impeachment complaint, ibig sabihin, maaaring sinasabi ng Congress, they are acting independently. Or number two, yung sinasabi ng Pangulo ay hindi naman talaga, yun yung talagang actual wish niya. But on that note...
Wait, lastly, Michael, yung Star Wars fan ka ba? Kasi nakikita ko yung hat sa likod mo eh. Is that Boba Fett ba or ano?
This is the way.
Yes. Sayang wala yung saber ko dito
kay Sir Ed yun. Alright, on that note, maraming salamat sa inyong oras. Sa Michael Yusinko, ang Senior Research Fellow at the Ateneo Policy Center. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Maraming salamat din.
Don't go away because we're not done yet.
Hindi. Balik na tayo kaagad. Top 2 na tayo kaagad.
Nagmamadali ka. Let's go to our top 2. On our top 2 is about President Bongbong Marcos' statement about clemency for Mayor Jane Veloso. The chief executive said the possible granting of absolute pardon to Veloso should be best reviewed by legal experts. The Department of Justice earlier said that there's a process that needs to be followed. The agency emphasized that the matter must undergo thorough evaluation by the Board of Pardons and Parole.
Malayo pa tayo doon. We still have to have a look at really what her status is. We will leave it to the legal judgment of our legal experts to determine whether the provision of clemency is appropriate. Wala namang condition ang binigay ang Indonesia, so it's really up to us.
All right, emerging at the top spot is the House Quadcom recommendations. Some of the people included in the House Quadcom's list said they are ready to face courts about the accusations against them. President Bongbong Marcos also said it is up to the Justice Department if they will accept the committee's suggestions. Here's a report.
The House Quad Committee's progress report suggested the filing of charges against former President Rodrigo Duterte and his allies, including Senator Bato de la Rosa and Bongo. President Bongbong Marcos said it is up to the Justice Department on how they will assess the committee's recommendations.
Yes, yes, I'm aware of that. Well, the DOJ has to make that assessment. So, may recommendation ng Quadcom, gano'n naman talagang proseso. When they do an oversight hearing, meron silang findings, i-forward nila ngayon sa DOJ with their own recommendations as to how to handle the findings in the hearings.
The President explained that DOJ should see first if the recommendations have sufficient basis.
The DOJ will look at it and see if there are in this time to file cases, what cases to file, how to produce the evidence that we will need to actually build the case up. So titignan pa yan, marami pa kailangan pa i-assess na mabuti kung ano yung maaaring maging kaso, kung tama ba yung direksyon ng rekomendasyon ng committees from the House.
In a radio interview, Senator Bato de la Rosa believes the latest move by lawmakers are attempts to ruin the Duterte ally senatorial campaign. He also insisted it has something to do with Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment complaint.
Kapag madimuli sa lalong-lalo na, eleksyon na. At kapag kami dalawa ni Senator Bongo ay hindi mananalo next year dahil na-demolish kami, ang gusto ngayon, hindi mananalo next year. So, next Congress, tuloy-tuloy na yung kailang, wala nang harang dito sa Senado sa impeachment nila na gagawin kay VP Sara. So, yun na, tuloy-tuloy na sila.
Meanwhile, Senator Bongo criticized the House Quadcom of seemingly involving personalities who were just merely mentioned in the hearings. He is also leaving the recommendations up to the courts. For Davao City 1st District Representative Paulo Duterte, the House Quadcom should prioritize investigating the people listed in the watch list of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency. He also welcomed the investigation and insisted he has nothing to hide.
Let's get more insights about this.
We have Raul Lambino. He is a senatorial candidate and spokesperson for PDP Laban.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, good morning. Magandang umaga po sa ating mga kababayan.
Yung reaksyon niyo na lang po bilang spokesperson po ng PDP Laban dito po sa rekomendasyon ng House Quad Committee na sampahan po ng kaso itong si former President Rodrigo Duterte and et al.
Klaro naman na iyan ay isang rekomendasyon lamang ng Committee ng Kongreso at walang evidentiary value yan, no? At sa tingin po namin kasi ito ay purely political persecution laban kay Pangulong Duterte dahil hanggang sa ngayon siya pa rin ang pinaka-popular na leader sa bansa o naging leader ng bansa. At ayon sa mga surveys, yung kanyang salita ay pinagtitiwalaan ng karamihan ng Pilipino. Ganon din si Senator Bongo, siya yung champion ng malasakit o kaya kalusugan sa bayan. At bilang re-electionist senator siya, isinama siya dyan para siyempre masiraan siya. Ganyan din si Senator Bato de la Rosa, siya rin ang champion na lumalaban sa mga komunista, sa mga terorista, at saka sa mga persons na involved sa droga. So isinama na rin siya dyan sa demanda na yan. Pero lahat po ng rekomendasyon ng committee ay baliwala po yan eh. Hindi naman po yan ebidensya na paniniwalaan kagad ng korte. Kailangan magkaroon ng preliminary investigation kung meron bang sapat na batayan, magkaroon ng prima facie ba o probable cause para ma-indict ang isang akusado sa korte. So sa ngayon, iyan ay purely political move lamang po yung ginawa ng Quadcom para siraan ang Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte at ang pamilya niya, mawala sila sa political equation dito sa ating bansa.
But do you think po na ito pong mga rekomendasyon na to at yung mga nangyayari po ngayon against sa Duterte family and allies ay meron pong negatibong epekto sa magiging campaign po ng PDP Laban as a whole?
Sa tingin po namin, ang taong bayan ay alam na po nila ang sitwasyon dahil nga po sa malawakang social media at information na natatanggap po nila. At nakikita naman nila kung ano ang talagang nangyayari dito sa ating bansa. Mas mahalaga sa ating mga mamamayan ngayon ay ang usapin tungkol sa corruption, yung napakalaking dagdag na budget na inilagay sa Department of Public Works, umaabot yan 288 billion, saan mapupunta yan? At saka yung pagkaltas sa PhilHealth, yung pagkawala ng pondo ng PhilHealth, kailangan ng mamamayang Pilipino yan. At siyempre yung tumataas na presyo ng pagkain, yun ang mas mahalaga pa rin kaysa sa itong ginagawa nila sa pamilyang Duterte.
Pero Spokes, ang sinasabi po nila kasi dito, dun sa nangyaring 13 hearings at yung ika-11 na hearing na inatenan ni former President Rodrigo Duterte, ay doon daw magagamit, makukuha nila yung iba't ibang mga pronouncement ni Pangulong Duterte doon, gaya na lamang ng pag-amin niya na merong reward system, etc.
Well, sabi ko nga, yan ay isang committee hearing ng Kongreso. Wala pong evidentiary value yan. Magkakaroon pa ng malawakang preliminary investigation kung maisasampa ba yung reklamo either sa Department of Justice o sa Ombudsman. Pero dahil matataas na opisyal itong mga sinasangkot nila, dating Pangulo ng Pilipinas, senatorial o mga senador yung iba, saka dating mga police generals, lahat sila ay masasakop sa jurisdiction po ng Ombudsman. Ang Department of Justice pwede rin siyang magsagawa ng kanilang mga preliminary investigation at magsagawa rin sila ng rekomendasyon nila, pero eventually ang Ombudsman ang hahawak sa kaso nun. Kung sakali man na yun ay may sasampa laban sa mga nabanggit na mga personalidad.
Alright, we have so much questions pa po. Unfortunately, we don't have much time. Pero for the meantime, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras, PDP Laban Spokesperson Raul Lambino. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you po at maligayang Pasko po sa ating lahat.
Okay.
Ayoy, 5 days before Christmas.
Oo, batiin ko lang, pahabol ko lang yung mga nanonood sa atin na si Mayor Abad, Kuya Elmer, si RJ Patrick de la Cruz, nanonood daw sila. Pa-shoutout dito sa SM Legazpi City, Albay, Maulan.
May nagsabi na dapat ang countdown natin, may countdown din tayo for New Year's, Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Dahil Pilipino, ang hinaharap nila din ang Christmas Eve din. So 4 days before Christmas Eve, 5 days before Christmas, Lalaine. Huwag ka
Happy brunch kay Lalaine, kay Direk, kay Barbie.
Dahil nauna si Direk sa lasagna. Tatampo si Lalaine Babawi kami,
Lalaine. Daw kayo ni Jericho.
Merry Christmas, advance Merry Christmas sa inyong lahat. That wraps up today. Tin. Thank you, Tin. And that wraps up today's episode of Brunch.
Okay, join us again on Monday. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro. He is Angelo Castro III. Year 1 News, all sides, all the time. See you tomorrow. Ay, Monday pala.